Hey y'all, welcome back to VW Family Farm. My name is Andrea and I want to welcome you to my kitchen. Today we are going to be canning and talking about how potentially I might have found a way to bypass this whole canning shortage that we have going on. It was really bad in 2020 with all the food shortages. People started gardening, people were home more during the pandemic, and that led to canning shortages, as well as people being out of work that may produce those items and things. So, and that has just bled over into 2021 as well. There's still shortages on everything from, the main one is canning lids. You might be able to find some things like this, like I found these at a local Walmart the other day. These are wide mouth lids and bands. And you also might be able to find some brand new jars. I ran across a few stores that have brand new jars that come with lids and rings on them, so that's another option. But here's the problem. If you're like me and you have plenty of jars, I mean, I have dozens and dozens of jars of all sizes. I have pints, quarts, half pints. I have quarts and a halves. I just have plenty of jars. My people that have handed them down to me, people have generously gifted them to me that were their families that they no longer want. And so I don't necessarily need to be buying jars just to be able to get lids and rings. I have plenty of rings for the most part. So what I need is lids, and that is what there is the most shortage about. Now, maybe not in your area, maybe you've been able to find them, and I hope so, but in our area, it's a major shortage. I'm gonna take you across my kitchen real quick. Not only that, we sell honey, and so every time we sell honey, we lose a jar, we lose a lid, and we lose a ring. So that's become a major problem. Not to mention, if you've been able to find lids, say on Amazon or something, a lot of them are majorly overpriced this year. And I have a place I like to buy in bulk. They're on back order. You just simply cannot get them. And another problem I've ran into, the ones that you can find that may be overpriced, you might think, well, I'm willing to pay anything because I want a can. They're not as good. Some of them are knockoffs, and I'm all about not buying name brand, but some of these are having failure to where your food is not sealing, and I personally have ran across that. I'm going to show you all that in just a second. So that is where this box comes in. A few months ago now, it's been a while, I got this box in the mail. In fact, we reached out to this company because we were experiencing this last year, and we said, hey, we'd love to try your product. And so they sent me a few to try to show you guys. So we're gonna try these out together today. And then if it works like I hope it does, I have plans to order more and to get out of this canning lid shortage for myself. So what this is, there's some red ones you can see. These are regular mouth. And then I have a bigger bag. It's the same amount, but these are bulkier because these are wide mouth. And these are actually the lids. And then they come with these rubber gaskets that we're gonna use. And then we're gonna use our plain rings that we always use off of, that are the metal ones that go on any mason jar. We're gonna use those with this. So I cannot wait. I've got two different sizes of gaskets here. I've got some things to can today. This is not a canning tutorial video, let me say that. I've made several of those, so I will link those here. I'll link the green bean one, and then that will take you to our channel and to that, and there's several more. You can look, we have playlists and everything. Look through there, there's all kinds of how-tos. I went step by step on how to can. So check that out. So these came with these instructions. We're gonna simply follow these today, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do this. So first thing I want to mention is you may be thinking, you know what, I'll just reuse my old canning lids. I've only ever used them one time and they sealed fine, and I will do that. That is a bad idea. I would highly advise against that. They're not made to be reused. I've known people that have done that, but it's just too high of a risk when you've put all that time and energy into growing the food, or even if you didn't grow it, you bought it from someone else, you put your hard-earned money that you worked for into that food, to risk it by putting in there and potentially making you and your family or others sick. So I would just highly advise against doing that. They're not made to do that. However, these that I'm going to show you, they are made to do that. There are several reusable lids that they're made of a different material, and they're made to do that. But I wanted to mention before we get started, this is some pizza sauce I canned last week. Brand new lids, I bought the jars to get the lids. I know it's crazy. That's the times we live in. I've literally canned for years and I don't normally have trouble. You can tell how much I had to put pressure on there to get that. That's still tight. I did everything as recommended. I processed them for as long as recommended. You can see this just lifts right off. And that is the third one I've had to do this. And there's no imperfections. These are brand new. They were clean and sterile, and I processed them for as long as I was supposed to. I don't see any imperfections on the lid. They were tight, the band was tight, and it only made 10 jars, and 3 out of 10 have done that. So you may be scared to use those if they won't seal, but you can see even with these conventional ones, and these are a name brand, those didn't seal. It just seems like for some reason this year, the lids, even the metal conventional ones, are just not the same quality. All right, first thing we're doing is heating some water up because we are gonna can some green beans. I've gotta get these green beans washed and snapped. I've gotta get my jars sterilized and prepared and a canner full of water in order for these to go in. So I'm gonna get busy, and then when it comes time, we're gonna talk about these lids. So y'all know I don't snap like one at a time. I have this little game where I see how many I can fit in my hand and snap at one time. It's probably more time picking them up than it is actually just snapping one at a time and just doing it over and over. So I got the green bean snapped. Now we are going to get the canner ready so that when I get the green beans packed in the jars and the boiling water on them and everything, it's ready, it's heated up and ready to go and start canning them. So we're gonna let that heat. We got our water really hot. Number one rule with using these reusable canning lids is gonna be follow your instructions they send you. Now, these are a brand that we chose, that we reached out to. Like I told you, this is the one I felt I trusted, and I like their reviews and everything. Ben is a big review reader on everything, and so this is our favorite brand. It's called Harvest Guard. We actually have a discount code for you guys to save 10%, and you get free shipping as well, and that is simply VW Family Farm, all ran together, all lowercase. That'll be down below, as well as a link. It tells them that we sent you to them, and that's all it does. It doesn't cost you any more or anything like that. In fact, it saves you money by using that code that they've offered only to our viewers. So let's get busy and see if these actually work, because like I mentioned earlier, if these do work like I'm hoping, I will be placing an order myself. I cannot wait to stock up and have a good feeling that I have the next few years covered, because the truth is you can use these things 6 to 7 times each before you replace the rubber gaskets. So let's just look at this and follow these instructions. First step is you need clean and sterilized jars. So I've got clean and sterilized jars here. There is no cracks or chips or anything on the top because these are brand new jars. I bought these when I thought that was going to be my only way of getting new lids, and so thankfully I think I've solved that problem. But therefore, if yours are not new, you want to check around here for chips and cracks, because that will interfere with your sealing, whether you are on using these reusable ones or whether you're using the conventional ones. We're going to put these rings, we're going to put these lids, and we're going to put these gaskets in here as well. We're going to wash them all good in this hot soapy water. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little just pot, and we're gonna put the rubber gaskets in there, and we're gonna simmer them until we're ready to put them on. That'll help soften them up and help them seal better. So we're gonna just put a little hot water in there with them. This is really difficult one-handed, but I think I'm pulling it off. We're just gonna slip these back here carefully and not burn ourselves, and turn our stove on to simmer. And we're going to work on getting our jars filled and ready and we'll be good to go. We'll be ready to can. Okay, I want to say also it's very important with these reusable lids to note they are BPA free and they're phthalate free. So those are good things and give me peace of mind. Those are not things that I want to be canning with. So they're free of those things. As well as I want to mention, you do need to follow USDA recommendations for canning. That's a good practice all the time. I know that there's some things that we probably all do in canning that don't follow those guidelines, but those are there for a reason and they're a good guide to follow. This is my favorite book for canning. This has held my hand through learning to can water bath as well as pressure canning. And you can also use these lids for both of those things, and for fermenting, steam canning, all of that. The only thing you don't need to use it for is for any type of recipe that calls for like quite a bit of alcohol in it, like tinctures and things that call for more than 15% alcohol. But this book I'm going to link below through Amazon. That's where I got it. It's just one I just picked up just because I needed help. It will help you, I promise you. If you're nervous about this or you just need a handy reference, that's what I use it for canning times, because I forget year to year. This is what I will be using to can these green beans today, the times and the measurements on the salt and everything like that. So we're going to do this according to these directions. You need to use proper headspace as well when you're canning with these reusable lids. That's very important. They need room to kind of vent. That's why we're not going to over tighten the lids, and I'll discuss that here in a second. But we want this to be a success. We don't want to put money into something and then just waste it. So I would suggest you get you some sort of book to have on hand. So we are raw packing these, which simply is what it sounds like. We are packing them in there raw. I did not snap these super small. You can do that to your liking. I usually just leave them whole, and then I just kind of, and if I see anything like that that's bug damage, I just chunk it as I'm packing these jars. These are wide mouth, so they're almost easier to do without the funnel, but the funnel will come in handy for the hot water here in a second. All right, so you can see I got these packed down in there pretty good. We're gonna add a teaspoon of salt to each jar, and then we are gonna leave 1 inch of headspace. It's important, like I said, to follow that because we don't want to make these fail simply because we didn't follow the directions. So we are gonna stop about right there at the bottom of that. If you are not comfortable with eyeballing this, I suggest that you actually measure it, but that is where we're gonna try to stop on all these. And that was the point of heating this water up at the beginning, is so now we're going to pour hot water over these and fill these up. Okay, this step is not as important as it is with some tomato products or whatever, because the only thing that would probably be on here at this point would be water. But we're going to go ahead and do this step anyway. We're wiping the lids, the rim of the jar basically, with a clean towel. And you can see some of these have risen up. I'll probably snap those here in a second. I can't do it one-handed. And get those all pushed back down there, because I don't want food up here where it's going to be in contact with where that's trying to seal. So I would go ahead and get those down back in the water and pushed back down. Okay, so you can see these have kind of risen back up a little bit. There is actually plenty of room in there because these are going to soften and cook down. These will not wind up being out of the water, I promise. I had that comment on my green bean video, and I just want to assure you that this is okay. So now we are going to take these lids back here that we've had simmering. I'm going to pull them up here where I can get to them, and I'm going to try to get them out of there without burning myself. Okay, so I got those out of the water. I'm going to take a lid and a rubber gasket, and you can see there's a groove back here. I'm going to put that in that groove, fit perfectly. Then I'm going to put it on top of the jar. I'm going to center it on there. Perfect. And then I'm going to put on a ring. And this is going to take 2 hands maybe. But I'm going to hold that in place. Okay, I'm going to do it with one to show you guys. And I'm going to tighten, but I'm not going to over tighten. Actually going to use a towel because that jar is very, very hot. And I'm going to just tighten to finger tight. That is not over tightened, but it's not under tightened. If you over tighten, the danger is this is going to dome up and it's not going to seal properly. Do not open this and do not open your canner and try to take this ring off if it's domed up. I guess it could pop off, I don't really know, but it's not going to work. If you under tighten it, it's just really loose, it's going to rattle off of there during the canning process. I've actually had that happen before when I used traditional lids. So you just want finger tight. You can see I held this still with a finger while I tightened. That's a good idea. So we are going to get these on. We've got the canner is boiling over here. We're going to get them canned. I've also got tomatoes. I'm going to dip in the rest of this boiling water and get the skins off of them, get them cored. I'm going to make some salsa and I'm going to can that, and I'm going to give you an update on how all of this turns out and how many of them seal. So I'm going to get these in the canner. Salsa is done and beautiful. We're gonna get that jarred up and sealed up. And then I'm gonna be canning in a pressure canner as well as a hot water bath canner. So we're giving this a for sure try and a really good experiment to see both ways of canning if these are gonna seal. We're gonna leave our 1-inch headspace again. And one trick I showed on a canning video, and I had a lot of comments saying, wow, I never knew that. This is something my dad taught me. Those handles, really, I don't know if they're made for this, but it's super handy to hang them on the side of your pot in between jars. It's a good place for a messy scooper. All right, so same drill as last time. We're gonna get these good and clean. We left the proper headspace, very important. We wind up with 4 quarts and a pint, and we are going to hot water bath those for about 40 minutes. So I added some more water. You do want them completely covered. We're gonna let that come to a full rolling boil and process those for 40 minutes. And then we'll check them. So we got done with canning out of the pressure canner and the hot water bath canner. They look great. There's a couple of them that look a little domed. That means probably that I over tightened them. These two right here, you can see they're kind of domed up. At this point, I'm gonna see if they sealed. The rest of them look great. You can see this is what they're supposed to look like. It's not sticking up at all. That just means I probably over tightened it and pressure could not escape as well. So I'm gonna see what happens when I take the rings off later, and I'm gonna do that with you guys, but there's one more step right now, and then we're just gonna let them cool and see if they sealed. And that step is you need to give them a tighten if they're not already tightened at this point, while they're hot, as soon as they come out of the canner, and then let them cool. So I'm gonna do that. I've got a towel. I'm gonna grab with the towel because it will still burn you, and I'm gonna tighten with the towel. And that one's already tight. These are all pretty tight. So that was my thing. I'm learning. I tightened them finger tight, but what I feel like is my finger tight and someone else's is probably different. And when I do something, I do it. So I figure I tightened a little more than most people would. So that's probably what has happened. I already got these tight and a couple of them a little too tight. So I'll learn. So I'm gonna tighten the rest of them, and then we'll come back later and we'll take the rings off together. Okay, it is the next day, so they have definitely had time to cool. They're at room temperature, and now's the big test. Did they seal? So let's start with this first one. These green beans, if you'll remember, were pressure canned. I like how the lids all look. They look like they're kind of sucked down. If they are sealed, you should be able to put gentle pressure, or it says you should even be able to pick the jar up by the lid. So let's try it. That one is sealed really good. So let's keep going. Let's try all the green beans first. So I checked all 7 quarts of green beans and all 7 sealed. So I'm super excited. 100% success on the green beans. You can see off of the pizza sauce I showed you, I don't always have 100% success. In fact, most of the time I don't. So I'm pretty excited about that. So let's check this salsa. This is what I hot water bath canned, and see if it turned out as well. That one's good.
Do you remember which one was popped up?
This one. This is the one that was popped up, and this one in the back. So let's check these. Yep. Yep. Final one. Are we going to have 100% success on both batches? We do. I'm so excited. That is so much hard work, and then to have them not seal. I had to dump out 3 of the jars of pizza sauce because by the time I found out, I should have took the rings off and checked immediately. That's my fault, but I lost 3 pints of that, and that was a lot of hard work that I just literally dumped out. We did feed it to the pigs and stuff, but still, that was meant to be food for us, and that's disappointing. So as you can see, I even made a couple mistakes along the way, and they still turned out. So I would not suggest making mistakes. I would do it exactly by the book of what the instructions say, but I'm really, really pleased. So that's it. It turned out fantastic. I'm sold on these. It has solved the canning lid shortage for me. I feel really confident about it. So I just want to be completely transparent with you guys. When I first looked into these, we reached out to the company and they sent us a few to try out and to show them to you guys. So that's what I did. But after seeing that I had 100% success today, I went to their website and I actually purchased a bunch for myself. This is gonna sound crazy, I know. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud and recording it on YouTube, but I purchased 250 regular mouth and 250 wide mouth. I purchased their bulk pack. along with 100 extra gaskets for using on those 250. I know that's so crazy, but I want to be set for years to come. These worked so well. I'm super pleased, and I don't have to worry about canning lids for a long time. So I encourage you guys, go check them out. There is a note on their website that their shipping is 3 to 4 weeks delayed. That's been on there for a while because Jill Winger posted a video about them months ago, and it has like 500,000 views, and so that put them behind on their shipping, which is a great thing for a company, but they like to ship out within like 3 or 4 days normally. So when they get that backlog caught up, it may already be caught up at this point, and maybe the message is just on the website, but I'm going to tell you, just like I told myself, you need to just get in line. Even if it's 3 or 4 weeks, you're still in line, and in 3 or 4 weeks you will be getting your lids, even if you have to wait a bit. But if you put it off and then you can't find any, or you decide to do it, you're further on down the list. So I encourage you, jump over there, use the link below if you don't care, to tell them we sent you. Use that discount code and save yourself some money, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, and God bless.